All right, in this video, we're going to talk about running multiple YouTube channels and how to do it successfully.
This is how heaven's beat sounds. Hey, we're giving hell a beat down.
So I have about 4 primary channels, YouTube channels. And the first thing that I would say is, find channels that you love, that you are interested in. I mean, there is something to be said about doing research to find which, industries pay out good money, right? Because there is a difference in ad revenue from doing finance versus doing a vlog, okay? The finance ad revenue is going to be a lot higher. Cost per view, the revenue per view is going to be a lot different in the finance versus the vlog. So those things are important to look for, right? If you're doing a channel on underwater basket weaving, there's probably an audience for it, but you might not want to do that one. So there is a benefit to doing research on what people are actually looking for, what people are actually watching. But more than that, I would say find something that you love, because one of the biggest things with YouTube is to put out consistent, which means at least once a week, putting out content. And so many creators get burned out, right? Because they don't actually love those particular things. They just, they thought about 6 months out, in terms of content, having enough content. But really with YouTube, you have to think 2 years, 3 years, 4 years out. Could I talk about this particular topic every week for the next 2-3 years? So that's very important. So I would always lean more toward what you love rather than is there an industry for it? Because I tend to think that, there's billions of people on this platform. I tend to think that you can find a niche or niche, whatever you want to say, in almost anything. You can find a group of people that if you're excited about a particular topic, there's people out there that are also excited about that topic and that are going to want to hear what you have to say. What is it that you are interested in? And running multiple channels is not for most people, right? YouTube and success people probably do not encourage you to have multiple channels actively, right? They would probably say, hey, start with one. And that's good advice. Okay. I'm not telling you to do what I do. But it's good advice to, just start with one. But the thing is, starting with one can often lead to you doing other channels. Once you understand how to do YouTube, it makes you excited about being able to make money in other areas as well. So each of us is thinking about different things throughout the day, right? So for me, I think a lot about entrepreneurship. I think about finance stuff. I think about Christian education, and the philosophical bedrock of different people's viewpoints and how that all affects society. I think about music a lot, hip hop a lot. And I also, because of my job in HVAC, I think a lot about mechanical stuff and how to fix it. Well, guess what? I have YouTube channels in each one of those categories. So when you get to a point where your channels are all monetized, then you are literally getting paid for your thoughts, right? It's like that old, that song, A Penny for Your Thoughts, right? Penny for your thoughts, nickel for, I don't know, something like that. So when your channels are monetized, then you are literally getting paid for things that you're thinking about, that you just want to tell others about. So I have a channel called Juke Media where I talk about my music as well as entrepreneurial entrepreneurial stuff. So when I'm thinking about those certain musical things, I write those ideas down, and then I can just kind of spitball. We have another channel called Welcome to Truth, which teaches Christian education. And so when I'm thinking about, the philosophical bedrock or things that are happening in society or how that relates to my Christian faith, I can write those ideas down. And if I'm monetized, I will literally be getting paid for those ideas. I have another channel, Mechanics for Non-Mechanics, where we teach on mechanical things and HVAC. I'm literally doing HVAC work every day anyways. And so a lot of times things will come up and I'll say, oh, someone else might benefit from that. I can write that down and YouTube will pay me for that idea. And then our fourth channel is on finances. And a few years ago, I started to get serious about our finances and investing and trying to live off of the dividends. So we have a channel called Live Off the Dividends, where I talk about those things. 4 things that I think about most outside of God and my family is these 4 topics. And those thoughts can become dollars. So the first thing that I would say is just find a topic that you could talk about all the time. Not something that you're going to force yourself to do it just because, oh, well, it's a finance channel and I'll make more money through that. No, find a topic that you could talk about all the time. And I think it is good to focus on, at least at first, one YouTube channel, because it's going to take you some time to figure out the rules of YouTube but man, when you start to see one of your channels actually making money, it's going to take some time to get there. Could take a year, could take a couple years, could take a few years like me. But once you get there and you start to see that how YouTube works and how ideas that you're thinking can translate into videos that can benefit people, it's gonna stoke you out. It's gonna jack you up to want to take your other interests and put out videos on those as well. Possibly, right? So probably the more responsible thing to do is to just have one YouTube channel that blows up. But for me, I am a creative type of person, and so and this is going to get into the next point, but what I like to do is, as a creator, as a creative type of person, I have little bursts. I'm like totally into like hip hop, okay? So like I'll be into hip hop and I'll be thinking about hip hop and writing raps and writing rhymes. And so what I try to do in those times is to knock out a bunch of videos on hip hop. And then after that, I'm kind of done with hip hop for a little bit. And now I'm focused on, musically, I'm focused on producing. And so then I'll do some videos on production. So when that iron is hot, I try and strike out and do as many videos that I can. And I'm doing them per week, right? I'm not going to try and do 6 videos in a day. I'm going to space those out per week, okay? And this is getting into the next important thing, which is called front loading, okay? So you front load your work. If I'm doing a video in May, or if I pump out 4 or 5 videos in May, you're not going to see them all in May. I'm going to put some in May, and then I'm going to be spacing them out basically once a week. And then after that, maybe I get more into, mechanical things. And then I have a fix on, automobiles or something. And so then I'm going to try and knock out a bunch of videos on, for my mechanic, channel. And meanwhile, I'm not thinking about music at all, but I still have videos that are going out every week, because when I was stoked on music, I front loaded those videos out. And then maybe I spend a little bit of time then on my Christian education channel, Welcome to Truth. And so I try and do about 8 videos there. And my whole goal is a starting position of 2 months ahead on all of my channels, which is about 8 videos based on a weekly output of videos, okay? And so that's actually what I'm in the process of doing right now, is putting 8 videos, getting 8 videos ahead on 4 different channels. And at that point, creatively, it just takes the worry out. It takes out the frustration or, oh, what am I going to do? It gives your mind the ability to just relax, think, spend time and just think. And then other cool ideas will come up. And then you can either put out other videos, knowing that you're 2 months ahead. You can either put out other videos within that time frame, especially if they're time dependent, or you can get further ahead. I think my goal would be to get, a whole year ahead on different channels, or 6 months or 3 months, but minimally you want to front load your work, and you want to do it in batches. You want to batch these videos together. When you're feeling creative in that particular category, you batch a bunch of videos in that category, and then you don't make the mistake of putting them all out on the same day, but you put them again a few weeks ahead. And so then it's just such a peace of mind thing to look at your channel and be like, oh, I have videos for the next 2 months. I can work on stuff, or I can do nothing and I'm completely cool. And it will free up more mental space and time space in the rest of your life with your family, or with your primary job that you're making money on. You can work on those things and not have to take up any mental space trying to think of how am I going to put out videos. So like I said, I think it's a good thing to focus on building one, because what'll happen is when you see one of those channels starting to take off and actually give you, say, $100, $150 a month passive income or semi-passive income, then you're like, dude, if I do this 3 more times, 150 instead of 150, I'll be at, $600 a month passive income. That would be ridiculous. And then you start, doing that. And as you put more of that time into it, you are going to see the results. You're going to reap the results, and more money is going to come in. But I think if you're front loading all of your work, it's going to free up a lot of space in your mind, and you're not going to burn out, which is a big problem that a lot of creators have. Please subscribe to the channel. Thanks so much. Comment below. We'd love to hear your feedback on these videos as well. If you want to see how much money YouTube has paid me with my channel Mechanics for Not Mechanics, check out that video right there. We'll see you in the next one.
This is how heaven's beats.